everybody. Welcome to the podcast where we motivate, inspire, and drive with stories from entrepreneurs from around the country. That's right, folks. Straight from their mouths to your ears, this is Hustle City, USA.
Hey, what's up, America? It's a Texas real estate dude, and we are live in the studio today at Hustle City, USA. And I'm here with none other than my good friend and your happy realtor, Mrs. Cheryl Powell. Cheryl, how the hell are you today?
I am doing great today. It's
selling houses still? Is that where we were at a minute ago?
I think so, yes. Yes, I've been extremely busy lately, nonstop.
That's
I think yesterday was the first time I had a little bit of a breather. I have been going nonstop.
Going back to real estate, I got a little bit of news last night. I got a message from our leadership team here at JLA Realty. We hit 400 agents just last night.
I believe it.
So, and a lot of plans going into 2017. And speaking of a lot of people, you know, I always like to try to bring a trending topic or something, and a couple today, one I saw this afternoon. So it's Friends Day on Facebook. What the hell is that? Why is it really that? But the thing that really got me, so I found that in Argentina just the other day, they broke a Guinness Book World Record of 1,941 people continuously floating in the same line. Why would they do that? You know, and they broke a previous record set in China of 650 people continuously floating in the same line. And so the folks in Argentina, I mean, it looked like they were in the ocean, right? And it wasn't one long line, it was several stacks of lines. And I thought, I want to be the guy that once it all gets ready and calm and everybody's lined up, shark! And just watch, 1,941 people clear out of there. But so silly stuff on the internet all the time. I probably spend too much time looking at that stuff. But what are we doing today on Hustle City, Cheryl?
We are having a great time today. We're just sitting back and enjoying some friendship here and talking about what's going on in our lives today. I just know that anybody right now that says that real estate is not happening, I don't know what glasses they're looking through or where they're getting their information, because real estate is happening right now. And I know if real estate's happening, then mortgages are happening.
Absolutely. Yes, they are.
So who do we have with us today? We have Marcela Williamson with Colonial National Mortgage.
Yes,
is that correct?
That is correct.
Marcela, thanks for coming in and being on the show. And
thanks
for the
me.
Pork rinds and the root beer, the hard root beer. I will definitely enjoy
the very hard,
the
delicious root beer.
That's probably going to be my breakfast tomorrow, to be honest with you.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I was really looking forward to this. Kind of nervous, but first time for everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we try to have fun in here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is our little clubhouse for all of us that hang out on the warehouse side of JLA, our training side, our multi-purpose side. Were you at this training today, Cheryl, or no?
I wasn't.
I was wondering how many people were in attendance.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good crowd the other day for the training we had when you were here, right?
Yep.
Well,
on
60,
Tuesday.
70 people or so in here.
Yeah, quite a
maybe?
bit. Good turnout that day.
Yeah, when
Absolutely.
our training around here has increased quite a bit since Kelly has stepped in and taken that role.
I mean,
we
And with that, I'm going to hope to talk John into a bigger studio.
Yeah.
If we get more space for the other stuff.
Yep.
So mortgages, Marcela, we can definitely go there, and I want to talk the real estate market and all that. But and I have known each other for a little while, but I want to go way back. I want to hear some of your early stuff, and then not. From birth. We don't have to go that far back. But
that was a long
what kind
time
of
ago.
jobs did you have before mortgages? Were you in other facets of banking? Did you ever have to, Chris Kelso was on the show, and he actually cleaned toilets and stuff.
Did he?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think the one interesting part about my mortgage career is because it didn't start as a mortgage career, which, as Chris's, started out as something totally different. Mine was not as exciting as cleaning toilets, but I was actually a graphics designer, and I worked for Enron. And so I'm sure I had a part in some of those.
Our very last guest worked for Enron, too. Really? I think they're all on the lam still. I mean, you're the ones that haven't been indicted yet, right?
Well, actually, we worked for a graphics company that was a contractor at Enron. And so we, got the information. They gave it to us all written on paper, and then we made the pretty slides and the pretty presentation. So we didn't make the numbers, the inflated numbers. We just did the presentation part of everything.
So your stuff didn't have to be shredded at the end of the day or
No.
anything?
Well, kind of, sort of, I guess, because we made the presentations. They gave them the paper presentations, but no, they were not our presentations. Just our pretty work going into them.
So let me hear.
Pretty interesting, because I worked with Jeff Skilling on a lot of those.
Oh, really? Was
and
he one of the big Enron guys? Or?
Yeah, Jeff Skilling and Ken Lay. I mean, we did a lot of stuff for those guys.
Oh, wow. That's a cool story. So, but you were with a company that contracted with them, so you didn't
Yes.
have your stock options and
No,
401k and all that.
none of
kind
that,
thing.
no.
So
We
go
got
back
lucky
even a
on
little
that.
further for me. I mean, tell me about being a teenager.
So I was born and raised in the Czech Republic. I lived there for 10 years and, of course, finished school 5th grade, then came to visit my uncle, me and my mom did, and over the summer. And then my father and my brother went, let me back up just a little bit. The country was communist back then. So in order for the whole country, family to leave the country, that would never happen. So my mom and I applied for visa to leave the country, and then my brother and my father did. And so the paperwork never got crossed. So the government never, kind of figured out that the whole family was applying for the visa to go. So they approved us. They approved me and mom to come to America, and they approved my brother and my father to go to Romania. And so while me and mom were here, got a phone call from my dad, and he said, hey, we crossed the border and we're in Yugoslavia now. And so they were, out of the communist country. So we ended up staying, and a year later, it took my father and my brother a year to actually get visa to come to the United States.
Wow.
So let me dive into that a little more, though. So 10 years old when you came to the States, in that first 10 years of your life you spent in a communist country.
Yes.
Was it like some of the pictures we see over here? I mean, was it bread lines and all that? Or?
No. I mean, when you hear communist, a lot of people have a bad misconception of what it is. It's actually not that. Okay, back maybe when the war was going on, things were bad everywhere. There was nothing good about any wars. But when I was growing up personally, my father worked in a chemical plant. We did okay. My mom worked as she cleaned a daycare that we lived in on the bottom floor. And so we never faced, the bad times and the actual, what made communism sound so bad. Like you said, the bread lines and the, poor people. I mean, everybody did pretty good.
Did you sort of live in the suburbs or more like in the city or?
In the city.
Right.
Yes. I had relatives that still had farms, and, so we'd go visit the farms, when we were little. And I mean, life was really good when I was a kid. We've traveled with family, we took vacations. I mean, we had a huge family back home. So we really got to spend a lot of time with family and, grandmas, grandpas, uncles, cousins, you name it. And we had family get-togethers all the time,
So, and I'm taking it you didn't speak any English at age 10 when you
No,
got
I did
here.
not.
So
no.
did you guys arrive through New York, like Ellis Island, or?
Actually, Houston's been my home since day one.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So, no, I didn't speak any English. So, of course, one of the first words I learned was hi. I think everybody
It wasn't
knows
howdy? What
No,
the
it
hell?
wasn't
Who
howdy.
introduced you to Houston?
And now I'm
Or
like,
y'all.
hey,
Yeah, y'all. Yeah, really.
I know it's funny because people ask me, where are you from? I'm like, oh my gosh, my accent's coming through. But yeah, I'm more of a hey y'all now.
So
Back
what's
then.
the Czech national language? Is it just called
Czech.
Czech?
Mhm.
Can you
Jak se
still
máš?
speak any of that? Or?
Ano, mluvím česky.
Okay, a little more? No?
Děkuji vám moc krát, že dneska jsem tady s váma. Oh my gosh, it's so hard for me to talk.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what you said, but yes will be my answer, okay? So 10 years old, you land in Houston. What part of Houston did you arrive in?
I think we were at Intercontinental, so in Houston at that
Okay,
airport.
wait, Cheryl, but they came into the airport. I got that part. I mean, what part of town did you live in when you got here?
Houston.
Okay, like,
Yes.
a little more specific.
Oh, I'm sorry. Pasadena. I lived in Pasadena.
Jeez, I really had to lead her in on that one.
Yes.
You know this is a big city,
specifically.
right?
I know, right?
So you guys lived in Pasadena?
Yes, we lived in Pasadena for a long time with my uncle.
Okay,
and then
you probably should have flew into Hobby then.
I don't think you can fly international into Hobby.
I don't
Are you
know,
like
dude.
really pulling?
Hobby's closer to
I
Pasadena.
know it is, but no international flights there.
Right. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. So 10 years old in Pasadena, what did that start looking like for you?
So I immediately started school when summer was over and started 6th grade. So I never skipped a grade. How that happened, I don't know, because I don't speak, like I said, any English. So, this was so long ago. We eventually moved when my father came. Then my uncle moved, because we lived with my uncle, my mom's brother, and he moved on. And then my mom and my dad, were living just us and then my brother. and then we moved into, I believe, the Klein area. I really don't know for sure now, but I never will forget those teachers. They're like, I don't remember their names now. I wish I would, because I remember so vividly, to this day, how they would make flashcards for me and, make the kids, like, all the kids were like, me. I want to work with Marcela, because, they got to, not do anything as far as work related for school. They got to work with me, so that was fun for them.
A good thing we didn't go to school together, because I'd have screwed up those flashcards bad.
My English wouldn't be as good as it is now, right? So so they did like flashcards with me and such, and that's really how I learned. And then I eventually, it's crazy. Like, now I even think about it, like, my spelling is, and I'm not bragging, but my spelling is like so good that I ended up helping the American kids spell certain words, because, spelling can be tough for some folks. Sure. And I've just always mastered it somehow. I don't know how, because the languages are so different and the alphabet is so different. So
I don't recall the actual number. I heard just somewhere through the past few years here being in Houston, but there's something like either 80 or 800 different languages represented in Houston ISD. So there's, the ethnic diversity with Houston's great. So, because you graduated high school here, that's probably Spring or Klein High, something like that, and started working then, or was still sort of just a kid? Or
well, high school, I actually went my freshman year. We moved to the North Shore area, and I went to the high school for law enforcement and criminal justice. I decided I was going to become an attorney.
Oh, nice.
And then it just, it just never stuck with me. And then so I ended up, then we moved over to Channelview, and I started Channelview High School my sophomore, junior, senior year. And then I just did secretarial work here and there, just trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I tried going to college, and it just really wasn't for me, but ended up working for the graphics company at Enron. Mm-hmm. I think it was called AMC. And I'm not really sure, but I think that's what it was called. And so I loved it. Like, I loved the graphics. And then I married the boy's dad, and we moved into Denison, Texas, where there's like nothing.
Yeah, where's that at?
It's
never heard of
north of Dallas, Sherman, Denison, right by Lake Texoma, the Oklahoma-Texas border, up 45 north. Yeah.
Right.
So we moved up there, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do here? I'm going to have to go work at Dairy Queen. That was like, it was a little bitty town. So I ended up driving to McKinney, and I took a position with a little graphics company. And then we bought our first home, and my one of my best friends, we're best friends now, who did my loan, said, you know what, you'd make a good loan officer. And I'm like, what's that? So that's kind of how I got in the mortgage business.
When she introduced it to you, or he, did you have a desire to sort of work for yourself, or you wanted to try something else, or you just thought it might be a good career avenue?
I thought it was something new to try, because the graphics business was not really booming up there, and I don't want to make, minimum wage.
Sure.
We all want to make a little more than that. But
But Dairy Queen, you probably got free food or something with that. You kind of weigh the benefits, against the wage.
So, so I thought, I might give this a try. And she really kind of took me under her wing. And, I started working for her as a loan officer right away. And she made me process my own files. And, so I really got my feet wet in more ways than one, not just the loan officer side, but the processing side. So it made me appreciate my processors, because I knew what they had to go through once I just became strictly a loan officer.
And about what year was that approximately?
That was in, Gunnar was born in 99, so 98.
Okay, so you've been in the business for a while now, about 20 years or so. We're getting close to that.
I know, right? Long time.
No, not a long time. 'Cause, I like to know the history, so I know, you were in it during the downturn.
I was.
And in the good times, 04, 05, 06, when you guys were just giving mortgages away, right?
Yep.
And, I heard you could fog a mirror and get a mortgage back in those days.
Yeah, a lot of loan officers did that.
Yeah. You never did the subprime or any of that?
I did subprime loans.
Right.
But I can honestly say that, they scared me, because it was kind of such a double-edged sword back then, because client would come to you and you look at the file, you're like, oh my gosh, but if I don't do this loan and try to do the best for them that I can, somebody else is going to do this loan, and they may not look out for the borrower,
right.
And I had a conversation earlier, actually at the meeting that we had here, back Tuesday, I made a comment about how passionate I am about my job, and I truly am. I friend a lot of my buyers, and I friend a lot of my agents. We're like personal friends now, but I really loved my job because of the flexibility, because I had little ones. When I started my mortgage career, I started having kids. I have 2 boys now. One's a senior, one's a sophomore. And so it really gave me the freedom to be a mom as much as I could be. And I love my kids, I wanted to dedicate all that I could. But at the same time, one income household just wasn't something we could pull off. So, I did the mortgages, and, I did pretty well, and I could do all that I wanted or as little as I wanted.
Well, see, the great thing I hear about that is because you've got the flexibility to show up to all the school events and everything, but then you can always say, hey, I got to go to work. I'm out. Yeah, I got to go to work.
And, I cannot tell you how many times my kids are like, well, can you go do this or do that? I'm like, guys, I do have a job.
Right.
They're so used to me just like, up and, going and doing and, being so flexible that even to this day, being sophomores and seniors, both of them, they'll ask me to do something, whatever, and I'm like, ask your father. I have a job too.
I've got to go to work. That's right.
Yeah.
That is so true, though, because same thing for me, in real estate. I love doing what I do, and I definitely have a passion for it. But my kids, my family, they all think that I'm free to be able to do anything, and just at the drop of a hat, I can do it. And sometimes, yes, I can, but not always. And sometimes you have to remind them, yes, I do have a job. Right. I do have somewhere to go. I do have clients to take care of.
Yeah.
So, and I'll ask you both, if I can, as 2 professional women, how do you find balance between that?
It's a lot easier now that they're 16 and almost 18.
Right.
You just have to make it work, because either you go and have a, executive job somewhere where you have to be in the office 8 to 5 and then let someone else raise your kids or let someone else pick up your kids. Or you can do what we do and say, okay, I've got to have this time designated to work and this time designated to kids, and really try to balance it. It's really, I've never found it to be super duper hard. The only time I found it hard is when, and my fault, I try to shut things down at some point in the evening, but sometimes you just can't. When you have the passion for your job to help your clients, not everyone is available during the day. So you have to take those calls at 8 o'clock at night.
Right. Another good point of something that I've been seeing on the internet a lot, and a lot of us around this little circle here, we follow Gary Vee, of course, and he talks about those hours between 7 p.m. and 2 a.m. And I'm like, Gary, I don't want to be productive during those hours.
Yeah.
we have to be allowed.
We have
right,
to,
sometimes.
right.
So, I know as realtors we can show till 9 o'clock, and then sometimes we're still writing contracts if we have to be. And so that's an interesting point you bring up.
Yep.
So bring us forward a little bit. Where are you at today?
Today, specifically at Colonial National Mortgage, still a loan officer. Just made the change back in October. Got into a little bit of a rut, I guess. Every company I have worked for, I've had longevity. Bancorp South is a great company, but I just needed a change, just personally. That was probably the first time in a really, really long time that I've made a change just on my own decision. I worked for, I'm not plugging in here, but I loved Bank of America back when we were working.
Blasphemy. I started with, and we haven't got to that yet, but I started on the mortgage side myself back in 2000, and I started with Bank of America Mortgage. And,
when we were there, oh my gosh, I don't even remember what year, let's see, 5, 7, 8 or 9 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. But it was great. And then of course when it was right before the Countrywide, when they bought out Countrywide. But once we bought out Countrywide, it was like, oh my goodness, things were just not the same at all. Because we took on their systems and such. So, and then I was at Patriot for about 5 years. So we left there because of that, and then Patriot 5 years, and they shut the mortgage division down. And like I said,
that's maybe around the time I met you. I think
yes, I think I just started. It was between Bancorp and Patriot. I had one little broker shop, stop over, but because I decided, maybe try the broker world and see how that works. And it just wasn't for me. I like having everything there and having control of it all, and the servicing and everything. which was at all the other companies.
So you're
but
kind of a control freak, is that what
oh
you're
my
doing there?
gosh, a little bit.
Well, that's okay. That means you're going to take.
But I know my limits. I try to back off a little bit. Yeah.
You're going to pay attention to your clients' files and make sure it's,
Yep.
you're totally hands-on with it, not
Absolutely.
just passing it off to another processor or something like that.
Yes, I stay very, very involved. Sometimes it's a bad thing because it takes me out of new production, but I do. I stay very involved in my files.
So take us out of work for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
What does Marcela do outside when you're not working, when you're not in heels?
Yeah, when I'm not in heels, I'm in camo.
It's okay. Do they have camo heels? I bet they do. Right?
Oh yeah, they do.
I mean, you
I
can't
don't
really wear them in the woods,
well,
right? But
here's the thing, there could be such thing as too much camo, But yeah, that's my passion is hunting
hunting what?
animals. We do a lot of deer hunting, hog hunting, and specifically, I'm passionate about bow hunting. To me, sitting in a rifle stand and shooting a gun, anybody can do that. But
So and enlighten me, and I'm not a hunter, and I'm not opposed to it, but and I see a lot of it here in Texas, of course, and everybody hunts and talks about it. But they set up these deer feeders, right? And then the deer comes and eat the feed from, and then you shoot them. Is that how
it's
it
not
works?
that easy.
Well, no, it's not easy, but it's
Yeah.
like you're luring them to the kill, right?
And I have to correct one thing. A lot of people call it hunting, but we like to call it harvesting because we do harvest. Like, to us, everything we shoot, we eat. We don't shoot stuff just
She's
for
kind of a
pleasure.
hippie
Just to
too,
put
I
a
guess,
trophy
right?
on the wall.
Just to put it. No, we do put trophies on the wall.
No, but you don't
we
do
eat
it
'em
just for
too.
that.
We eat 'em.
Right.
So
Yes.
the hogs, those wild boar and stuff, they can be eaten or not? Or they're not so
Well,
good?
specifically boar hogs, a lot of people eat them, but I don't know, and I don't want to bore with a lot of hunting stuff because I could talk about that like all day long, even more so than mortgages. But yes, you can eat hogs and boar hogs, but they're not as good as like the female hogs and the sows. But
Why the hell's that? That's
they're real gamey and
The taste is
yeah, the
different.
taste is totally different.
Very
yeah.
different.
And the older they are, the worse they taste.
So what do you ask them before you draw down on them?
like
Hey,
make
wait,
some
how old
jokes
are you? Right? I mean, how do you know? I guess by size, how
Yeah,
old
by
they are?
weight, by size.
Yeah, I remember
yeah.
you killed Piglet or something a couple weeks ago. I
That
saw
wasn't
that
a
on Facebook.
piglet. That was a
pretty-
324-yard pig shot.
Oh, yeah, 344
Well, that's what
yards, but the
happens-
pig was
that's what
32 pounds, right?
That's what happens when you don't wear contacts when you're at a deer stand. Because when you're looking through your binoculars, they're a whole lot closer than when you're looking at them with your naked
you
eye.
shot him with a bow from 300?
No, with the rifle
With
at
the
that.
rifle.
Oh gosh, yeah, I wish I could do that with the bow. No.
Do they travel that far? I don't think they do they?
No, I mean, and some people are really good shots at even 200 yards with bows, but
Mm-hmm.
that's the expert level. I'm like, I'm more like the Mario non-expert level. I'm more like
as long
30,
as you
40
get a kill
yards.
shot, though, right? I mean, you're not shooting them in the ass and have to track them for
Yeah.
3
Oh,
miles.
no,
right?
no,
that's
no.
not
You're
good.
in the enjoyment
We
side of it.
we always try to make an ethical shot.
Right.
I mean, I could have an animal 10 yards away from me, and if I don't think I can make an ethical shot, I don't
Right.
do
Well,
it.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. See, I don't know much about hunting. That's why I'm
Yeah.
asking silly questions.
There's hunters and then there's harvesters, and I probably shouldn't say that openly, but there are some hunters out there that are not respectful hunters, that I've heard and seen some things that I'm like, okay, you're fixing to be the target next,
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Oh, my underwriters are scared of me.
I was going to say, we better not make her mad, James.
Yeah. No. So, hunting's definitely up there, and the kids enjoy it, and my boyfriend loves it too. So we do it every opportunity we
Do
get.
you go to, there's like a lot of closed ranches or some ranch hunts?
We're actually leasing two. We have one in Crosby where we live, and then we're leasing one in Doss, which is over by Fredericksburg. Beautiful country up
Oh,
there.
yeah.
It is
Oh,
nice
yeah.
in there.
Yeah. And see, everybody's like, oh my God, Fredericksburg, do you go shopping? I'm like, no.
I go kill stuff.
No, I go kill stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't. I go there for sightseeing. I don't go there for shopping.
Yeah. Yeah.
So avid hunter, mortgage professional. What else you got?
I have, my boys used to compete. We ride horses. So I have 2 horses. They're both retired. One because he's so old, poor baby. He's like 30. And then my other one is 14. I've had him since he was a baby, and he's going blind, so we can't ride him anymore. Yeah.
Now,
So
what do you mean by retired? You can't ride them anymore?
Well, I mean, we
they're
can.
out to pasture.
Yeah, they're basically yard ornaments, that I feed every day.
Right.
So,
Well, that's
but
kinda
I mean,
neat
we
for
can
a
still
horse,
ride them, but I try not to put too much pressure on them.
Right.
It's stressful, especially the old horse. So the kids might hop on him every so often, just so he doesn't forget how to, go for a nice ride. But other than that, we don't really ride him that much anymore.
So any weird things that maybe some of the listeners should know? I mean, you don't wash your hands like 24 times a day or anything like that.
No.
Close the door 3 times.
But I do
before
have
you
to. I do have to wipe slobber all the time. I have a bloodhound.
go. You should wash
He's
your
like-
hands 24 times a day. I think.
He's like the highlight of my life right now, because my boys are so grown, and so I've never in my life owned a dog myself. Like my parents have had dogs here and there, so I grew up with them as far as, having them in the family, but I've never actually went out and got a dog and raised one from puppyhood. And I'm not like a huge clean freak or, but I like my house nice and tidy and, clean and, I like nice stuff. So I like to keep it, intact. And boy, I picked the worst.
The wrong dog
kind
for
of
that. What's his
for
name
my
or her
house.
name?
His name is Clyde.
Clyde.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, Clyde.
I've always loved animals. They add so much to the home. I mean, they're
Yes.
entertainment themselves.
Oh, he adds a lot of drool to the
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're so faithful. I mean, they don't want you to leave, and they're sitting there waiting for you to come home, and they just want to be by your side.
Yeah, he's
And they
definitely.
don't talk, right? That's
They don't.
it.
Yeah.
They don't talk back.
Yeah, not at all, not at all. But no, he's definitely brought excitement to my life, and just raising him from puppyhood. And oh, I have to say this. I mean, the reason we got him was because we're hunters. And so we don't always find everything, although we love to find everything that we, shoot. Sometimes, you just bad luck on your side. So a friend of ours actually shot a buck and couldn't find him. So the landowner called out a guy that brought out 2 bloodhounds. And, after the howling and, everything else, I was like, oh my gosh, we so need to get one. So by golly, we got one.
So he
And
does hunt with you? He's trained
He does.
to do that?
He is trained. So he was 10 weeks old when we brought him home. And the night we brought him home, we had saved some blood, froze some blood. And I put out some blood for him. And boy, he's been on it ever since. So I pretty much trained him myself. So now when he tracks, oh my gosh, he puts that nose down and that nose starts popping and you can hear him. And I mean, he gets on that blood trail and he goes.
Wow.
It's amazing.
But do you do ducks and stuff too? Or you don't
No,
hunt
we
any of
haven't
that
done, no, not duck hunting. Just mostly like deer and hogs. And we have just this year started getting a lot of turkey out there too. So we're going to actually stalk and hunt turkeys this coming up spring. So that's going to be exciting, something new for me.
I bet you get a lot of deer in Fredericksburg.
Oh my gosh, yes. We have at any given time, and this is what I love about bow hunting too is, I'm kind of a outdoorsy nature girl, but I sit in, 20 feet up in a tree, in a little chair, in a stand and open. I mean, I'm right there, there's not a blind to sit in. And you've got 20, 30 deer right in front of you right there, 10, 20 yards away. So, I mean, and what's great is, like, I love watching the babies, when they start dropping those babies, which is right before hunting season starts. You see them babies running and they're playing and, and just watching them, it's such a relaxing
And do you
thing.
think when you grow up, I'm going to come back and shoot you?
I'm
Or
like,
you're
yeah,
sizing
mark
them
that
up for
one, mark
later?
No, we that's another thing that we do is we as far as being respectful hunters, we don't shoot just anything. If we do take a doe, it's an older doe, and we don't take ones. We have a lot of does that actually have twins, so we try not to take those. Bucks, everything over at least 4.5. We don't like to shoot little bucks, and a lot of people will go out there like, oh my gosh, antlers, boom. We don't do that either.
Right.
We like to manage our deer and let them get some age on them, and yeah.
So sound guy's outro music is coming into my headphones, and it normally shouldn't. He should put that on at the end. I think he can clip that out, though, and we'll be okay. So what else do we not know about you, Marcela?
Really, that's it. I mean, other than mortgages and horses and hunting, I'm pretty boring.
That doesn't sound boring to me. Actually, you and I have a lot in common.
Do you ever go hunting on a horse? That's what I'd like to see.
No, you know.
But you could do that.
Yeah,
I mean, you got older
can.
horses, but if you had a younger horse, I guess, right?
The one thing that I do want to do, and I may have to get with you, Cheryl, on getting back in shape. I do want to do a elk hunt with my bow.
Yeah.
But I don't want to just go in a ranch and they're like, oh, there's your elk, go shoot him. That's not hunting. I want to actually, so that's one thing that me and my boyfriend talked about is he wants to do a moose hunt. I want to do an elk hunt. So we thought, well, one day when we get married, maybe we can buy each other hunts and go, I'm like, well, I better get in shape.
Why do you have to be married first in case you accidentally shoot him on the hunt? Or
yeah,
it's like she's got a plan to this,
right?
right?
Looking at some insurance
right.
money.
We can't go hunting until the insurance money's in play.
Yeah, no, because we're like, that's what we can do for each other for our, wedding gift or whatever. So,
right. So elk are up north, though. You can't really hunt elk
you
here,
can really hunt elk almost anywhere. I mean, if ranches stock them. But if you want to do what I want to do, you'd have to go to like Colorado or up north,
right?
Where they roam, free range.
Right.
I would want the challenge of finding it too. I would want somebody to, direct me to where they are. Let me go out there and try to find it because that's part of the fun.
Yeah, this planet, is so amazing as far as I'm a huge animal lover, but if you I love elephants. I think that they're the most majestic, besides horses, of course. But elephants because they're so emotional. If when I see these videos of them crying and stuff, it's like, oh my gosh. But no, what I was gonna say is like, if you ever hear an elk bugle, to me, there's just like that's the most amazing sound ever.
And what does it sound like? Can you do it? Or
no, I can't do it.
I didn't even know elks did bugle. I mean, do they have a full band when I'm playing the trumpet and stuff too? Or no?
I'm telling you, just YouTube, elk bugle or elk making noises or however you want to. And I'm
not sure I want to Google that. There's no telling what you might get with that.
It's pretty, and I've seen clips from where they're at in the states that they actually roam free and they'll go through towns, especially during what we call the rut, when the males are pursuing the females. Mm-hmm. And I saw a video here not too long ago from this past year's rut where, there was a herd of they call them cows, the females, and then the male elk was behind them just bugling and pushing them through town. And they're dangerous. Like you don't want to tango with an elk, but when they're in the rut, they've got, just the females on their mind. So that this male was pushing these females through town and bugling. It was just like, oh my God, I wish I would have been there, know? Yeah, because it's pretty amazing to get that up close to them.
And to hunt moose, you have to go, to like Canada or some of our...
Same thing, yeah, elk and moose, the northern states. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely Canada.
Moose like Colorado or no? That's more like Alaska or... I don't know,
and again, there's moose, pretty much moose and elk and any kind of exotic animal, they're going to be all over. I mean, people have brought them in and they're naturally from a certain area, but men have brought them into their... I don't know how to say it. They're non.
They're not their native habitat.
Yeah, their native habitat, right? Because all these big ranches have brought these exotics in, and some of them get out and they populate outside of their habitat, or where they're originally from.
Right. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So give us a terrible mortgage story.
Oh my gosh. There are so many.
There's so many. Wrong answer. There should only be one bad story for your whole career.
I mean, terrible mortgage story. Okay, so personally, I've come across some deals that are super tough, hard to do, but, honestly, the worst ones that I've ever seen is when a buyer comes to me with what used to be the GFE, the good faith estimate. Mm-hmm. We don't have those anymore, but... and you would see these brokers charging them, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, to give them a loan. And you look at it and you're like, are you kidding me?
What?
Well, that's back before the meltdown when they made points on the front and on the back on the yield
spread.
Spread.
Pros and cons to the changes in our industry. And, us loan officers, Chris Kelso, there's so many good ones, we can certainly appreciate the changes in a way. A lot of them are really, really good, but a lot of them are kind of like, are you kidding me? Do we really have to go through this? You know, like just everything that we have to go through as a lender now. It's almost borderline ridiculous.
Or are they going to repeal the Dodd-Frank? I heard they might do that.
You know, I don't believe it till I see it. You know, I mean, they tell us about all these changes constantly that are going on in the industry, and you know what they're rolling out, and then it's like all of a sudden it's a change, they're not rolling it out, or you know they're changing it. You know, whatever it may be. So there's just so much movement in our industry. You know, that, you know, we just take it day by day and just do the best job we can for our buyers and, you know, make sure they get into their homes.
Okay. So how can people find you?
They can definitely almost always call me on my cell phone because that sucker never leaves my hip. I mean, it's here, you know, with me now. Phone number? 281-797-9369. And if they look up Colonial Mortgage, they can always Google me or search me on Colonial's website also.
Do you have a standalone website or just your presence on Colonial, Facebook business page, any of that kind of stuff?
I have a Facebook business page. I don't even know what it is. Oh my gosh. I think it's Marcela Williamson. Just my name, because that's how I always search it. I don't ever search it up by the anyway. Just search Marcela Williamson, and yeah, it'll pop up because that's how I search for it. I'm embarrassed
and
now.
while we're on social media, I mean, do you do any social media marketing for your business, or you just have a presence there and stay in touch with some of your people?
I believe in face-to-face, so that's why I go and do sales calls, and I do Facebook.
Right.
I try to put some tips out there, you know, and post some flyers and such to kind of keep the agents informed on what's going on in our industry. But I do have the business Facebook, and then I have like another kind of sort of business Facebook, but it's more personal. It's where I have all my agents, you know, that I stay in contact with. But other than that, I mean, I'm not a big, huge, I know this is probably bad, but I'm just really not a big, huge social media
everybody's
junkie.
a little different. That's why we always ask. So for you, staying in front of your people, staying in front of the agents, and lead generating through the agents, and then you know, referral business and stuff like that. Yes,
absolutely.
Okay, so one more time, how can people reach you?
281-797-9369.
And an email?
Marcela with one L, marcela.williamson@gocolonial.com.
Awesome. That two L's kind of, it's one L, but I was trying to search for you with two L's, and I was like, what the hell's going on?
Marcela with one L, I always tell them, Marcela with one L.
Any closing comments, Cheryl?
Well, I'm just grateful to be here today, and I'm so glad we got to meet you today. And
Likewise.
Looking forward to, you know, hearing some more from you and seeing how I want to hear some hunting adventures.
I have lots of hunting stories. I mean, how long do we have? Not long enough.
Marcela, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate having you. I'm the Texas Real Estate Dude. We're out for next time to Hustle City.